think we're live. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. Oh my goodness. So good to have you all here. And I see there's probably a couple people signing on. We're going to talk about how much sugar are you eating and all about sugar. Sugar, there's a song, sugar, do, 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 do. Okay, I'll stop. Anyways, I'm just kind of waiting a couple seconds here to have people log on, but it is so good to have you here, even if you're watching this as a replay. And so, we decided that we were going to dive into the topic of sugar, right? It's a super important topic for your health. And and that's what it is, sugar. So, but I did want to talk to you a few minutes before we dive into things. I have something exciting to share, and it's the 2025 Vegan Health Bundle. It's coming soon, and it's packed with incredible resources to help you on your plant-based journey. So whether you're looking for delicious, whole food plant-based recipes, expert guidance on nutrition, or tips to break free from unhealthy habits like sugar cravings, right? The bundle has you covered. And it also has fitness, yoga, meditation programs and guides, nutrition coaching courses. I'm offering one of those. And there's a lot more. There's also affirmations, and Chef AJ has a few things in there. There's raw, there's travel. It's just amazing. And the whole thing is going to be yours for $49. So it's only available between March 1st through March 10th. So I just wanted to share that with you, and just stay tuned. You'll get more details, trust me, but you are not going to want to miss this. And I will have a link everywhere starting March 1st, and you'll be able to use my link, find it in the show notes. Where else will we find it, Todd?
In your profiles on all of your various channels, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, TikTok, you name it, it's there.
And so if you still can't find it, then reach out to me and I'll be happy to send it to you as well. I just want to say that. And I want to say hello to Marilyn Dubin. Good to have you here. Hi, Lisa. Good afternoon. I'm so happy to have everyone here. So I just finished talking a little bit about the upcoming bundle. And I see Jim Dixon. Hi, you too. Course Scorpy. Hey, everybody. I'm so happy to have everyone. And I'm grateful that you're all here. So today we're going to talk about the differences, right, between natural sugar and refined sugar, for starters, and how they affect your body. So how sugar hides in the foods that we're eating, and how to manage your sugar in the foods that you eat. So if you're like me, I'm always learning and trying to improve on my whole food plant-based lifestyle. And when I noticed, oh my gosh, how much sugar was sneaking into my life, as I progressed, without me even realizing it, I was shocked. So I want to get into this with you, and I want to bring awareness to the topic. And so I want to start with a question. How many of you are watching your sugar intake? You could just put a simple Y or N, and you can elaborate if you want. And I just want to say hello to a few people. Let's see here. We have, hi, Karen. So good to see you. Hi, Annette. Wonderful to have you. Okay, I see one Y already, so I'll give it a few more minutes. And that question again was, how many of you are watching your sugar intake? Y for yes, N for no. Or if you want to add anything else, please feel free. So first, let's talk about natural sugar versus refined sugars, right? And natural sugar is found in whole foods like fruits and vegetables, while refined sugars are processed and stripped of all their nutrients. And so, yes, it's not just fruit that contains natural sugars. Vegetables do as well. So I'm going to tell you about a few examples of that, but I do want to check the chat here. Hey, Gina. Hello, Mona. Oh my gosh, so nice to have you guys. Marilyn said Yes. Annette, yes. Course Scorpy, I don't watch my sugar intake. Okay, that's okay. Yeah. So, anyways, glad to have people in here and sharing in the chat. So I was just starting to say vegetables have natural sugars as well. So examples of this would be some of them that I have here, right? Beets, carrots. I've got some corn, and this was frozen corn. I have the bag behind me. Peas, which I didn't pull the peas out. Butternut squashes. So I don't have everything out, but you get the picture. And starchy vegetables like potatoes, they have higher sugar content than even green leafy vegetables. So, uh, examples of like how much sugar are in, vegetables. Let's talk. So we talked. I brought up beets. Here's a beet that I had cut the top off already because I ate the greens. But beets are up to 8% sugar, and of course, these vary depending on size and everything. But so this is just an estimate. Sweet corn, this is sweet corn right here, up to 6.3% sugar. Green peas, 5.9% sugar. Sweet potatoes, up to 5.5% sugar. Onions, which I don't have any to show, but onions of any sort, about 4.7%. Carrots, 4.7%. I thought that was interesting because I think of carrots as being sweeter than an onion, but I guess as far as sugar goes, they're the same from my research. And red bell peppers, I've got these little mini bell peppers up to 4.4% sugar. So let's check the comments. I want to see how many of you are watching your sugar intake. I saw a couple earlier that I mentioned. And let's see, anything else we see here? Anyone talking about anything? Okay, let me see. Lisa says, I eat only whole foods, so I don't worry about the sugar as I only get natural sugar. That's awesome. I mean, that's what we, I think, especially in our household, strive for, and that's the way to go. Summit Lakes HOA, I want to welcome you. Hello. And it's Mona. That's okay. I love saying hello to Mona twice. Bernadette, shoot. Welcome. Nice to see you. And let's see, it says it's imperative to watch your sugar consumption. High sugar consumption can lead to diabetes. Diabetes can lead to so many other lifestyle diseases. You're right. And we are going to touch on that. And Marilyn Dubin says, oh my, I didn't realize that. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Just because natural foods have natural sugars in it, I just want you to be aware of it, right? So, a lot of times we all think that sugar is just in the fruits, but it's actually in regular vegetables as well. So I got another question for you guys. Let's see if anyone can answer this. How many grams, or if you don't do grams, you could do teaspoons of sugar do you think you eat in a day? You might know, you might not know. You can guess. It's whatever it is. It's just a fun thing to kind of think about. And I'd love to have you guys share what you think. I wanted to ask that question, but I didn't really think about what my answer would be. So I'll think about that as well. And I want to check the chat again. Gina says, I'm a sugar addict, so no sugar. And she was agreeing with Lisa. Annette, she doesn't have any idea how much sugar she is consuming in a day. And that's okay. Core Scorpy says maybe 20 grams, thinking about it, right? And I'm thinking about it too. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm consuming some because it's in the food that we eat, but it's interesting to think about. And Marilyn Dubin also says, question mark. So when you eat natural sugar, the natural sugar, the fruits and vegetables and stuff, your body processes it with fiber that comes with the food, which helps slow down the absorption of the sugar, right? So on the other hand, refined sugars are absorbed quickly into the bloodstream, and that can cause blood sugar spikes. And I think some of you are aware of that. Natural sugars come with naturally good nutrients, right? They have the antioxidants. And if it's, pulp, maybe because I've got some citrus here, and fiber. But refined sugars, like those found in sugary drinks and sweet treats, they have no nutritional value. And they can lead to some serious health issues, like what one of our viewers mentioned already, type 2 diabetes, also obesity, heart disease, chronic inflammation. In fact, inflammation is one of the root causes of many chronic health conditions. And I, unfortunately, am very aware of this because I have had battled chronic inflammation for a very long time. I've dealt with serious inflammation in my sinuses, and I have had 3 sinus surgeries. And I can go on and on about inflammation and how shocking it was to realize how food plays such a huge role in it. So I've also talked more about chronic inflammation than I had ever hoped to. But anyways, I want to get back to today's topic of sugar and not go down the rabbit hole. So while natural sugars are okay in moderation, refined sugars are the ones that we really want to be cautious of because they're not doing our bodies any good whatsoever. Refined sugars, like the ones you might think of immediately, maybe, are often added to processed foods. But natural sugars, like those in fruits, can still have an impact on your health too. So it's important to remember that even though natural sugars are less processed, they can still cause spikes in your blood sugar level if consumed in excess. And of course, we all handle things differently, but it's just interesting to be aware. So even with the natural sugars, too much can be unhealthy. So it's about balance. And anyways, I'm going to just check the chat here. Do you see anything, Todd?
Of course, Scorpio has a question. What are your thoughts on juicing? Since it's natural sugar, but without most of the fiber to slow down absorption, would it likely cause sugar spikes?
Yeah, I'm looking for where that question is.
Right here.
Do you know, that's a great question. And I think because I'm actually going to be getting ready to do a juice feast or a juice fast for 3 days, I think that is a great question. And yes, you will probably have more of a spike because you're removing the fiber and you're removing all the pulp. And so it's not something for me personally that I would do for a long period of time. I would definitely want to ask my healthcare professional or practitioner what their thoughts are in, with whatever it is, like my personal, issues are, or health restraints. And so yeah, so I just want to add, so yes, I think that probably will cause blood sugar spikes, but I also wonder if it changes because I know that there are juices that they offer at cancer centers, even local ones near us, and they make a juice cocktail for their patients, but it's not high fruit necessarily, right? So they do a lot of greens and ginger. They do wheatgrass. And so, I haven't really checked into it in detail, but it's a great question. I also want to just go back up here and see Annette says, wait a second, even higher. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. So Mona says 27.9 from Chronometer 2 days ago. Oh, so you're putting your stuff in Chronometer. That's excellent. That's a great way to monitor things and see how you're doing with, all of your nutrients and vitamins and things. So thanks for sharing that, Mona. Annette says, I always check the labels for added sugar in things like bread, pasta, and a few things I eat that are not whole foods. Excellent, right? So that's what we want to talk about, is making sure that you're aware. And Mona agrees. I see you, Todd, 1 second. And so let's see, Bernadette, shoot. Yes, fiber is the reason you can eat an apple or banana and not have the same challenges as eating sugary treats. Absolutely. Exactly my point. So you guys are getting it. And then we just read about the juicing. And Bernadette also says you need to fiber. Okay. And hey, plant powered peddler Janet's here. Hello, welcome. Davika Farine. I hope I said that right. I apologize if I'm saying your name incorrectly. So are you saying we should not eat things that are high in sugar? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm just saying is it's important to have awareness about what has sugar in it and what doesn't have sugar in it. And we're going to talk more. So in fact, I'm going to just talk about it right now. Like here in the United States, the American Heart Association is recommending a daily sugar intake of no more than 25 grams for women and 35 grams for men. So for women, that 25 grams is equivalent to like 6 teaspoons. And for men, 35 grams is equivalent to 9 teaspoons. So take a moment to really think about that, right? I mean, even their recommendations for me is, I think it's too high. But then again, I need to do a better job of seeing where I am with that. And so I'm not suggesting that you not eat things that are high in sugar, just making you aware. Okay, and then Course Corby says, hope you have a great juicing experience, Jennifer. Thanks for the thoughtful response. Oh yeah, you're welcome, and thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, the greens and ginger and turmeric, if they are more dominant than the fruit, can be beneficial, says Bernadette Shoot, and so that's great to hear. So anyways, if you took a moment to think about it, right, you might feel like you're doing a good job of managing your sugar intake, right? I sometimes want to say, yeah, I'm doing a good job, but here's the thing. You'd be surprised at how much sugar, both natural and refined, can hide in our daily foods, especially if you're one that takes a little here and there throughout the day, right? Little, which, you know, is a habit that I grew up doing and I try not to do now, but I still am guilty. And then, because you don't even know, oh, did I really eat that much? But yes. And so how much of that is sugar? So a lot of us don't realize how much sugar that we're consuming until we start paying closer attention. So you might be thinking that you're avoiding sugar by cutting back on candies or desserts, even if they're organic or whatever. But sugar sneaks into a lot of other things that you might not expect. And it comes in many forms, both natural and processed. And in processed foods, like those things that you buy at the store in bags and boxes and pouches and cans, which I have some examples here, sugar can be hidden with a whole bunch of sneaky names. So remember, when we talk about sugar, it's not just the white stuff that you add to your coffee. Look, I've got sugar right here. Sugar, sugar. We couldn't have a sugar conversation without sugar. So, you know, I mean, we talked about the recommendations. This is a tablespoon. What did it say? Teaspoons. I'm going to just show you in case you're not familiar with a teaspoon. And it said men have 9 teaspoons of these, if you can picture that. And women, I think it said 6, right? Yeah. So it can add up very quickly, right? And so like what I was saying, it's not just this white sugar that you know, people add to their coffee. I don't drink coffee, but Todd does, or sprinkle on your oatmeal. Some people like to put a little, you know, sugar on their oatmeal, or add into your homemade cookies, even if they're plant-based, right? You might be adding some type of natural sugar. So sugar can show up in many processed foods. Sometimes it's hidden in places that you wouldn't even expect. Oh my gosh, right? And so while you may be cutting out sugary snacks, there's still a whole world of sugar lurking in the foods that you think are healthy. So I want to check the comments and see if anything is added regarding how many grams of sugar you think you eat. And Todd is saying, no, nothing. Okay. Oh, hey, Jill Caperton. Hello and welcome. That's okay. She says, coming in late. Hello. And Gina says, it would be interesting to know how much sugar is in a date. Well, the show's not over. And so we're actually going to cover that, Gina. Great question. I do want to ask another question is, how many of you are aware of all the sugars that are hidden in our foods? Just wondering, how many of you are aware? Are you aware? I mean, do you really, really know your sugar and where it is and what it's doing and hiding? So the thing about it is that sugar doesn't always go with just the name sugar. So sugars can be hiding under names like syrups, and that could be like maple syrup, which I use as a sweetener, corn syrup, brown rice, and so on, right? Cane sugar, which this is actually cane sugar according to the bag, cane sugar, or date sugar, which we didn't bring out. We could have brought that out because we have some, or coconut sugar, honey, agave, barley, malt. And those are just some. Then there are chemical sounding things that end in os, trin, or all. Like, what would those be? Like dextrose, fructose. A lot of people are familiar with high fructose corn syrup, right? Fructose, glucose, sucrose, maltodextrin, sorbitol, xylitol, erythritol, maltitol. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. I can't remember or say all of them, but you don't know. And so unless you like look it up or are very aware of it, you wouldn't know, oh, that is a sugar. And so then there are sugar alternatives, which people are really into, like stevia, aspartame, saccharin, isomalt. And, we could touch on the fact that stevia is a plant, right? And, unless you're taking the plant of stevia and taking the leaf and putting it in your drink, there's a process and it does change it. And it is something to be aware of. And what I think is worse than regular sugar is the sugar alternatives. Most of them are lab created sciencey stuff. So, yes, there's a stevia tree, but there's no aspartame tree or saccharin bush or anything like that. So let me just check the chat here for a minute. Oh, hey, Renee. Renee Haig is here. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Oh, she said dates. I ate 2 today, and that's okay. Dates are great. Let's see, Annette. I am blown away about how many different names. Yes, sugar has, and I have actually a list somewhere that I was hoping to come up with sheets and piles because they keep changing it and adding more. But yes, Bernadette Shute says that is why whole food diet is so much more sound nutritionally for your health. You eliminate all the processed sugar and chemicals. Absolutely correct. Yes. And then Renee says, and I use date paste and date syrup too, but not too much. And that's all I use. So none of the substitutes. Hey, there's no right or wrong here. It's just information. And I use those things as well. And those are better. So, okay. If you think you're doing everything right by choosing, right, another one, and I was trying to get some here to show you, the sugar-free, even if it's like a drink, or the natural alternative, think again, because they can still be packed with sugar. It's just called one of those other names we talked about, and it's all sugar disguised as something that doesn't sound like sugar. So I don't want you to be fooled, and I don't want to be fooled. So the best thing that we can do is read the ingredient labels. And I know exactly, and then know exactly what's in the food that you're eating. So I actually just did a video on how to read food labels. So if you haven't seen it, you could check it out and find it on my YouTube channel. So let's just talk about when you're shopping. Make sure to pay close attention to the ingredients list, right? There are so many ways that we already talked about that sugar, even healthy, natural sugars, can be in your food. You can start tracking your true sugar intake, and you could do it for a week and see what you think. You'll be shocked, I think. I'm sure I will, by what you learn. And it's all about being mindful of what you're putting into your body, because it might seem like a small amount of sugar here and there. And the next thing you know, it can add up over the course of the day. And then the end of the day, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I was ingesting that much sugar. And so anybody interested in trying that, I'd like to hear, or maybe you've already done that, and I'd love to hear about it in the chat. So sugar is a pretty powerful substance, and there's a ton of research suggesting that it can be just as addictive, as some drugs. Right? It's like, what? Just sugar? Yeah. So when we ingest the sugar, it triggers the release of dopamine, and that is a feel-good neurotransmitter in the brain's reward system. So this is the same system that's activated by substances like nicotine or even cocaine. And I'm sure there are other ones too. So the more sugar we eat, the more our brain associates it with pleasure and reinforcing any cravings, right? Because we all are like, oh, at one point or another, have you ever said, oh, I have a craving for a chocolate bar, a sweet this or that. So it makes it really hard to stop. But over time, regular sugar consumption can mean that we need more of it to get that same pleasurable effect, just like with addictive drugs. And so, beyond its effects on the brain, which is a huge one, sugar also impacts our bodies in ways that makes us crave it even more. When we eat sugary foods, they cause rapid spikes in our blood sugar, followed by crashes that leave us feeling tired, irritable, and hungry again. So it's not really feeding us in a way maybe when we're hungry that our body wants. So it keeps asking for what it's missing. And this cycle of highs and lows encourages us to reach out for what? More sugar. And then it creates this kind of like dependency loop. Studies have even shown that when people try to cut sugar from their diet, they experience withdrawal symptoms. Anything from headaches, fatigue, you can have mood swings. It's actually really incredible. It's like it has a hold on us, or it can. So, compared to substances like tobacco or alcohol, sugar might seem harmless, but it's the long-term effects that can be just as damaging. And as we've mentioned before, overconsumption is linked to, anybody remember? Obesity, type 2 diabetes, which we talked about earlier, heart disease, and even cognitive decline, which is sad. So some research suggests that excessive sugar intake may contribute to inflammation in the brain. We talked a little bit about inflammation in general, in the brain, potentially increasing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, which is a big deal, which is a big problem here in the US and I would say worldwide. And because sugar is so socially accepted and widely available, many people don't even realize that they're caught up in the cycle of addiction, a sugar addiction. So I just want to take a second to check the chat. How are we doing? Oh, hello, Else. Nice to have you here. Bernadette Shute says, I read that there are 52 grams of sugar in a 16-ounce bottle of soda, the size at the one you grab at the checkout counter. That is a whole day's worth. Yes, and I am going to talk about soda, and you're right. That's a whole heck of a lot of that. You're just drinking it, right? You're not even. Do you even enjoy it if that's what you're looking for? I don't know, but and then what? Does it help your thirst? Probably not. So thank you for sharing that. And breaking free from sugar addiction is not easy, like with any addiction, I believe. But awareness is always the first step. I'm always preaching awareness. And I think here it's the same thing. So just like with any addictive substance, reducing sugar gradually, focusing on whole foods and stabilizing your blood sugar levels can help lessen the cravings and support long-term health. Now, there are some people like me that make a decision and I'm like, okay, I'm in 100%. But, depending on, if you get the headaches or you get other things, you might want to do it in a slower manner. But being aware is going to help you. And recognizing sugar's addictive qualities can also be very empowering for us to help take control of our choices rather than letting it control us or not having awareness and not understanding why you're having health issues. So how do we cut down or even cut out sugar? One of the toughest parts of cutting sugar is finding it. So even if you know the sneaky names we talked about for that might be called sugar, Sugar can hide in places that you never think, like in our store-bought sauces or salad dressings, breads, like was mentioned here in the chat, and more. And one of the easiest ways to get rid of sugar is by eliminating, Bernadette Shute said, sugary drinks. She talked about Coke, I think, or soda. Yeah. So people don't realize how much sugar is in a beverage like soda or like sweetened teas. Have you ever went to the store and you think you're doing the right thing because you're getting a sweetened tea? What about juices? Even coffee. And I say coffee, if you don't make it yourself and you drink it and you just go to, the coffee shop. Well, I think they're always selling sugary coffee drinks, and there's probably a lot of sugar found in those. But even fruit juices that claim to be 100% natural, they might include added sugar, especially if the ingredient says made from concentrate, right? There's another one. What does that mean, made from concentrate? Sugar. A great alternative is to change your beverages to drinking water. I know everyone's always saying drink more water, but what if water, it's like, oh, I don't want water. Well, try herbal teas or try sparkling water you can add like some fresh lemon or lime. You can even do that in regular drinking water. You can put in a fresh berries or cucumber and it'll give it a little flavor, or even coconut water. So I want to just, okay, yes, let me see. So Renee says, oh, you look so pretty. Oh, thank you so much. I like your red lipstick. Your brain is beautiful too. Renee, mwah, big hug. And I send it right back to you. And you are also a gorgeous person that I know inside and out. And thank you again. Core Scorpy says, which is most dangerous, high sugar intake or high sodium intake? Do you know by chance? Go ahead.
So there is current research.
But before you say it, I'm wondering if we should ask people in the chat.
Okay, let's ask people in the chat.
Does anyone know? Does anyone want to have a? That's a great question.
We'll come back to it in a few minutes after everyone's had a chance to chat.
Okay, so I'll do a fun fact and then we'll talk about it. Before you even say it, I wonder if I would be able to answer it. I think it's different things. So anyways, I've got lots of stuff here and I want to touch on. So just real quick about the fun fact, a bottle of Coca-Cola. Recently, and the reason I'm talking about this is because recently Todd and I were traveling and we went to the Coca-Cola Museum, which was interesting and it was really fun to learn about it. But so here's a fact about that. A bottle of Coca-Cola has 18 grams of sugar in it. And I'm talking about an 8-ounce bottle. So I know Bernadette had said a 16-ounce bottle. We're talking 8-ounce bottle, 18 grams of sugar in it. So if you divide that by 4, because there are 4 grams of sugar in 1 teaspoon, then you're looking at, oh my gosh, I got to show you. Remember, this is the teaspoon. 4.5 of these. 1, 2, 3. I should have had it set aside so I could really show you. 4.5 in the 8-ounce bottle of Coke. For women, based on the recommendation of no more than 25 grams that we talked about earlier per day, that 1 8-ounce drink is almost 25% of a full day's amount. That's a lot. And Bernadette, you were right on the money talking about exactly that. So any answers about Scorpy's question? And then I'll tell you what I think, and then you can tell us what you looked up.
There's a few answers on Core Scorpy's question. And that question again is, which is more dangerous, high sugar intake or high sodium intake? Marilyn and Jill both said both.
Okay.
And at the end of this, they are also correct. Bernadette says, I would think high sugar would be worse, as diabetes can lead to so many other diseases.
And I want to say, what I think.
Go ahead.
Okay, so yes, I think salt and sugar both have their negativities. They affect people in different ways. But if I had to pick one, Yeah, I would say sugar. I would say sugar. Why would I say sugar? Because of the spikes and it's so okay. I'm just going to stop there instead of going down a rabbit hole. But that's what I'll say. Vote. I vote for sugar. And what do you find, honey?
According to current research, a high sugar intake
Oh,
is
it is.
is generally considered more dangerous than a high salt intake for overall health, particularly regarding cardiovascular risk factors like high blood pressure and obesity, with studies suggesting that added sugar may have a more direct impact on these issues than sodium. However, both should be consumed in moderation.
Yeah. Okay. So I knew there wasn't one that was better than the other. And so I think everybody that we read got it right. Do we have any others that added after we started?
Well, first, Gina says no one drinks just one 8-ounce Coke.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. So every time you would double it and triple it and so on.
Yep. And then, both Gina, Jim, and I think Lisa also suggested that salt
Okay, so
is a contributor to high blood pressure.
Gina says sodium for blood pressure and sugar for diabetes. So she said both.
Yep.
Yes. Jim Dixon says you can control salt a lot easier than you can control sugar. I like that answer. But I guess it depends. What kind of salt are you talking about? Just adding table salt? Because salt is hidden in a different, it's hidden in stuff as well, but that's good. And Lisa says, I think salt is worse because of high blood pressure. Okay, so there you have it. I love that question. Thank you. And thanks for everybody, tuning in. So I'm going to just talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about some here and some that I don't have. Ketchup, right? Let's talk about ketchup. Ketchup, which I don't have any because I recently cleaned out my refrigerator and threw an old bottle out. But it can have up to 11 teaspoons of sugar in a 200-gram bottle. So what is 200 grams? It's like slightly over a 7-ounce bottle. Isn't that crazy? 2 tablespoons of a barbecue sauce. I have a barbecue sauce right here. Can have 12 grams or more of sugar. I just want to look at this one and see what it says. So I always like to look at the ingredients first and then the nutrition facts. And this one, I'm looking, it does say sugar. It says tomato puree, and then sugar is the second one. And then distilled vinegar, and then molasses, which is what? Another sugar. And then natural smoked flavors, sea salt, cornstarch. The rest is not a sugar. So, that's another thing. If you know those other names of the sugars and you see sugar on the label, and then you learn what the other names of sugar is, you might find them again. And it's just, I don't want to say a sneaky way, but I feel like it's a sneaky way of putting in more sugar and not having it look like it's such a big thing. Also, the top one is going to be the most ingredient, and then as you go down, it will be less and less. So when we go over to the side here, this particular one, it says total sugars. Well, this one says 13 grams for 2 tablespoons. And so I was pretty close. I said 2 tablespoons, 12 grams or more. But then underneath it says here in our labels in the US, includes 12 grams of added sugar. So we have 2 lines on our products. Usually they'll say sugars. It used to just say sugars, period. Now it says sugar, which is like the natural sugar, and then the added sugar. So you have to watch for that. And then cake mix. I have a cake mix here. Cake mixes can have a lot of sugar in the dry mix container. So let's look at a cake mix. Oh my gosh, here's one. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is in the ingredients. The first thing on this ingredient label is sugar. Then it's enriched bleached wheat flour. It talks about different vitamins that are added, cocoa powder, palm oil, dextrose. Hey, isn't that a sugar word we talked about earlier? Next to it is salt, and then sodium bicarbonate, artificial flavor, which could have sugar or salt in it. And so that has a couple hidden in here. And then when we go up to the nutrition facts, it says that the box serves 18 servings. It's 1/18 of a package is a serving size. Come on, okay? Whoever's eating this, I have a feeling you're not going to do 1/18 and then stop. But just going down to the sugars, total sugars for just the mix, because they have one for the mix and one for it cooked. I'm just looking at just for the mix, 16 grams. And then underneath it, including added sugars, do they need to do that? 16 grams. And it says that's 32% of the daily value. So were you wanting to say something, sweetie? Okay. And then there's some things that I don't have here, but flavored yogurt, even if it's plant-based, it can contain 12 grams of sugar. Salad dressing. I have some salad dressing right here. And my research showed that 2 tablespoons can have 5 to 7 grams of sugar. This one, looking at the ingredients, it starts with veganase. This is a vegan one. So veganase, so whatever's in the veganase is listed next to it. So it's oil, filtered water, brown rice syrup. I just want to talk for a second about brown rice syrup, okay? When people, and even myself, when I was first learning and I saw brown rice in the word, I thought, oh, that's probably good. That's a good sugar. Brown rice, it's brown rice. Isn't brown rice good for us? Brown rice sugar is another name for sugar, okay? So just be aware of that. Apple cider vinegar, soy protein, it goes on and on and on. Olive oil, hemp seeds. And so, it could be worse. So anyways, that's it for this particular one in terms of sugar. Any questions, anything going on in the chat? Okay. And so, let's talk about an 8-ounce glass of fruit juice, right? That can contain more than 25 grams of sugar. That's the same amount or maybe even more than that 8-ounce bottle of Coke we just spoke about. So it's everywhere. And I have some juices. This apple juice, it says 100% apple juice from concentrate. What did we talk about? Concentrate means sugar. I'm looking at the ingredients. Apple juice from concentrate. Then it says that means water and concentrated apple juice. So what is that? It's very confusing if you don't know what that means. And then what's interesting here are this just has total sugars. It doesn't have the 2 lines that we talked about where it says sugars and added sugars, but the total sugars are 25 grams, which is what I think we talked about in an 8-ounce serving. Now, Todd, I'd love for you to just talk about why you switched and what you were drinking and what your thoughts are since I started doing this.
So I was drinking soda and plenty of it on a daily basis. And in the interest of becoming healthier, I switched to that specific apple juice, only to learn just recently that that's not a whole lot better, at least from a sugar standpoint. It doesn't have all the caramel coloring and all the other weird nonsense that Coke and other soft drinks have. But from a sugar perspective, it's actually not better.
Right. And, it's not like I haven't mentioned anything like that before to him, but, sometimes it's better to hear it from when you're ready. And I think that, when he said to me, did you know? I was like, I've talked to you about it. But anyways, whenever it's good, just to have awareness, right? So he may still decide to drink this, but at least he is aware of it. And I just want to check the chat here. 56 names. Annette says, oh, what's here? Dr. Robert, Gina says, Dr. Robert Lustig, I hope I say that right. Doctor, very concerned about sugar for children. He wrote a book, Sugar Has 56 Names. Oh my goodness. He's amazing. Thank you, Gina. Yeah. And Annette says 56 names. Wow. I mean, that is crazy. And so Bernadette Schutz says, I thought the same thing about the brown rice syrup when I first changed my diet. Yeah, it's very confusing for people. So I also just want to talk a little bit about orange juice. Here's an orange juice. The ingredients, orange juice, right? It's just the fruit. Isn't it great? Let's check the sugars. The sugars are 26 grams of sugar in an 8-ounce glass. So why would this be a concern or not? Does anyone have anything to say about orange juice? So I will just say that orange juice means we took what out of it? The pulp and the fiber. So it's going to cause this, can cause the spikes that we talked about. And so just something, some people say, I'm going to drink orange juice because it's fresh squeezed, da 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 da, and it's fine. But just be aware that, there's nothing to slow down the absorption when you remove that stuff. And even cereal, I have this cereal here, and some of these products were, I borrowed from my daughter, my son, or we had hidden somewhere that I didn't know. So I did not buy any of this, and I will return some of this. But this one, gluten-free, sprouted, it just looks great. 100% ingredient transparency. And then we look in here, organic sprouted whole grain brown rice, organic coconut sugar, organic cacao. What's in cacao? Is there a sugar component? Organic sunflower oil, unrefined salt, and a few other things. So, and this one's supposed to be like a healthy one. But, look at like what? Some of those other Fruit Loopy whatever and stuff. I wanted to, just other cereal boxes have around 9 teaspoons of sugar in like a 400-gram box, which I think, this is a 283-gram box, so it's a much bigger box than that. That's a lot, right? So I want to look at some other products and share some of the labels of some interesting things. Or if you see something here and you want me to read it or, go over it, put it in the chat and we'll talk about it regarding sugar. So before I do that, anything going on here, honey?
Annette says, yes, cacao has cacao butter and powdered sugar. And then, of course, Scorpy asked, what's the healthiest source of sugar? Honey, maple syrup, molasses, etc., or natural sugars in fruits, perhaps? Is there a healthiest way to intake sugar besides in moderation?
Yeah. So I would love to put that question out again to people here, but I think that consuming it through the natural forms and are the best way to go, because you don't have chemically weird stuff. And that's what I would say. Do it through the fruits, through the vegetables, and keep the processed stuff as low as possible. As far as honey or maple syrup and those kinds of things, I think those are fine too if you consume those instead of regular sugar. That's just my opinion, and there is no known fact about that. So some of the other things, I was putting this out. I really want to talk about this. Okay, this is organic Thai lime rice. Seems like it'd be pretty healthy. Has anyone ever tried this? And I'm not saying it is or isn't, but I thought it was interesting. It says it's got coconut, lime, and lemongrass flavored rice, but we're just going to focus on the sugar. So the first thing I like to do is look at the back, and I want to look at the ingredients. So the first thing is water, long grain rice, coconut milk, sunflower oil, spinach, jaggery. What is jaggery? Does anyone know? What is jaggery? I was like, what is jaggery? So now I want to ask you and put it in the chat. Don't look it up. Just tell me what you think. This will be fun. And I'll just continue to read this while we wait for anyone to tell me what they think. Okay, so let's see if we find any other, or any sugars, I should say. I'm looking at lemon juice, salt, green chili peppers, natural flavors, and then they list coriander, kaffir lemon, which is, we have one of those trees, lemongrass basil, which is really good, dried onion, dried oregano, black pepper, cumin. Okay, so nothing else. So I want to just give everybody a second. Let's check the chat. Anybody know what jaggery is?
There's a lot of guesses for sugar. I threw in there the lead singer of the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Like Jagger?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, Bernadette Chute says, do you feel maple syrup is refined as all the fiber is removed? I wonder about blood sugar spikes. I think that maple sugar probably is going to be more of a spike versus maybe dates. But that's a good question, and I would want to double check that. But that would be what I think, and I use them both. But sometimes I think maybe it's better for those reasons not to do the maple syrup, even though it comes from a tree and it's a great sweet substitute. So Lisa, according to Dr. Greger, the healthiest sugar are date sugar and blackstrap molasses. There you go. And we do have blackstrap molasses here. And do you know that there are different types of molasses besides blackstrap? And I think there are some that are better to use in certain recipes. I can't remember, but I did study it at one time. Okay, so where did we go? Annette says it's the least processed sugar, but it's still sugar. Yes. And Gina, powder, not date sugar. Oh, that's what she meant. Okay. People are laughing. Todd, you're such a funny guy. And Lisa says, we just read that one. Okay. And then Gina says, any sugar without fiber goes straight through the bloodstream. And Dr. Esselstein's concern of a smoothie. But a smoothie keeps the fiber in it, even though it's broken down already. You don't chew it, like he says, versus what Course Scorpy talked about, which was juicing. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what jaggery is. And I just want to see, Jill says pomegranate molasses. Oh, I see one more. I just got to say, Mona says, I don't use the powder date. It's high caloric density. And to me, it doesn't sweeten as well as the whole date. Yeah. And, I've recently tried it. And so I have to agree with you. Okay, back to jaggery. Jaggery is, drum roll. It's an unrefined brown sugar-like sweetener commonly consumed in South Asia and Southeast Asia. What do you think about that? It's made from the concentrated juice of sugarcane or palm trees, such as date palms and, a fun one for our house, toddy palms. I had no idea. On the label, it does say in parentheses, brown cane sugar. So it says jaggery brown cane sugar. I have never seen that before. I just kind of wanted to share that. So, and I looked up, what does it look like? It's a brown or golden brown in color. It's got a sweet, slightly molasses-like taste, I guess, and it has a solid or semi-solid consistency. So it comes from the juice of the sugarcane or the palm trees, and it's boiled down until it thickens, and then it solidifies into what is called jaggery. And then it's cut into blocks, or it's molded into different shapes, and then you can use it as a sweetener. So what do you think about that? So, okay, the next one I want to talk about, and I'm not going to talk about all of these, but there's just a few that I really wanted to pull out because they were either interesting or I had never heard of or wasn't aware. So, graham crackers. These are graham crackers, the cinnamon. It says right on the package, I just want to show you the cover here. It says, no high fructose corn syrup. No high fructose corn syrup. If you could see that, that's what it says on the bottom. Okay. Wow. Doesn't that make you feel like that's good? It's naturally flavored, whatever that means. I might think that's good. It talks about whole grains and it's great, right? There's the cinnamon stick. This Kroger brand graham cracker we got because they sent us a coupon, and I've had it forever. This is like old, for a free box. Okay, with that said, on the ingredients label, there is some ingredients here. There's vitamins, enriched flour, graham flour, which is whole wheat flour, sugar. It says sugar. And then it's got canola oils, different oils. And it's got molasses, another sugar. It's got honey, another sugar. And dextrose. Remember? Os, anything added and ending in os, dextrose, another sugar. Cinnamon, and that's it for sugars. But I went back to like the middle because it said something that I thought was really interesting and I didn't know what it was. I'm sorry, I'm starting over. TBHQ. TBHQ. I'm like, what is TBHQ ingredients? Does anyone know? Okay. It's not about a sweetener. It's not a sugar, but I thought it was really interesting. And I just wanted to talk about it because why is this in the graham crackers? Usually eaten by who? Kids or people that are making s'mores or whatever, that we got this free coupon that I shared. It is, let me see if I could say it. It's short for tert butyl hydroquinone. Did I say that right? Tert butyl hydroquinone. Blah, 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 blah. Say that 10 times fast, you guys. Oh my God. Okay, what does that mean? It's used as a preservative and it's controversial. It's a controversial additive and it's been linked to immune system suppression, liver disease, and neurotoxic effects. Probably something you don't want to eat, even without figuring out how much sugar these contain. Why are they giving these away for free? So I was just floored by that. I'll mention a couple others, and then I want to talk about a few. So I'll just talk about this one here. This is Trader Joe's pumpkin cranberry crisps. It seems like it looks like it's, organic and it doesn't say organic, but it looks like it's clean and fresh. And so this is not a vegan product. It says low-fat buttermilk. Yikes. Wheat flour, brown sugar, sweetened dried cranberries. What's on the cranberries? Sugar and oil. Flaxseed, oats, sunflower seeds, dried pumpkin powder, leavening, like baking powder and that kind of stuff. Salt, turmeric, orange oil. Anyways, that's it for, but all these things for sugar. So I also want to talk about, like what we said before, processed or packaged food labels that are labeled as sugar-free, because we didn't talk about sugar-free, they can still have sugar in them. I wanted to get to the store and buy a sugar-free product, and I didn't get a chance to. But, for example, a sugar-free pancake mix, right? They often use sugar substitutes. What would that be? Sorbitol, maltitol, and sucralose. What are those? Sugar alcohols that still impact the body the same way that sugar does. So ingredients like maltodextrin might be listed in there too, which is basically another form of sugar. So I know we talked about orange juice. It can be tricky when it says no added sugar, and we kind of talked about that. But sometimes it can be as sweet as 6 teaspoons of sugar in an orange juice that has had the fiber and pulp removed. So make sure to master reading your food labels. Even products that claim to be healthy on the front can be packed with hidden sugars. So always check the ingredients. Always check the ingredients. Choose products with little, in my opinion, or no added sugar if you're going to be buying something that comes, not from the beautiful produce aisle. So how many of you are aware of all the sugar that's hidden in our food? Does anybody want to say? We were talking about that earlier. I just want to ask you, were you surprised by places that sugar can be hidden? And hi, Colleen, nice to have you here. So what's the difference between refined and processed sugar? Nothing. Refined sugar and processed sugar are essentially the same thing. They're sugars that have been extracted from plants like sugar beets, sugar cane, and then they're chemically processed. So this means they lose all the nutrients that could help your body process them properly. So they're essentially just empty calories and they're not going to be helpful. Um, so how do you get delicious sweet foods to satisfy your sweet tooth without go to the refined sugars or sugar alternatives if that's what you're looking for? Well, you could do a few things. You could make a plant-based dessert using natural sweeteners like unsweetened applesauce. You could use fresh or frozen bananas, dates. We've talked a lot about dates today. Frozen sweet cherries or maple syrup. You can use that, or just eat the fresh fruit. If you change the palate, you will love fresh fruit like papaya, mangoes, oranges, and berries. I just had an incredibly delicious papaya the other day. Oh my goodness, it was so good. It was like better than any sugar. It was just amazing. So all these fruits offer natural sugars and they come with the fiber, which, like we said earlier, helps control how the sugar is absorbed in the body. So which fruits have the most and least natural sugars? There are fruits with higher sugar content, including grapes, bananas, mangoes, dates, figs. I even have some dried prunes here, right? Fruits with less sugar include berries, like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, citrus fruit, like grapefruit. I got a grapefruit right here, oranges, pineapple. So remember though, fruits are packed with fiber and nutrients. You've got to just remember that. That makes them a healthy part of your diet. So I have a question. Any guesses on how much sugar is found in the fruits I mentioned or any other fruits? Do you know? So I have a list that I'd like to share just of some different fruits and their sugars, and I won't do them all, but I'd love to hear if anybody has any. Hello, Sugar King. Sugar for the win. Oh my goodness. That's fantastic. So you can be sweet without consuming harmful sugars, right? So anyhow, I'll just talk a little bit about grapes. Grapes, 16 grams of sugar per 1 cup, which is like 4 teaspoons. Hey, it's good to know, right? Bananas, those are 12 grams of sugar. Let's say in a medium banana, that's about 3 teaspoonfuls. Mangoes, 11 grams of sugar per cup. And of course, these are natural sugars. But if you're only eating fruit, let's say, you might want to know which one is the higher, or do I need more? I would like this one or that one, or just to have awareness. So mango, 11 grams of sugar per 1 cup. That's that's just under 3 teaspoons, like 2 3/4 maybe teaspoons. Dates, okay, contain 66 grams of sugar. That's why we love our dates. And that's per like 100 grams of dates, or 2/3 of a cup of dates. And if you're making a dessert and you're sharing it at a potluck, or you're freezing half of it, you're not going to be ingesting the whole thing right away. But dates are amazing and they really help to get off the refined sugars. There's also dried figs, 50 grams of sugar, and that's per 100 grams, or the 2/3 cup, same thing. And strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, they're not the same, but they're pretty close. Strawberries, 7 grams of sugar per 1 cup. That's about 2¼ teaspoons. But raspberries, so strawberries were 7, raspberries a little less, 5 grams of sugar per 1 cup. So 1 teaspoonful. Same with blackberries. It's the same, 5 grams. But what was surprising to me is blueberries. Blueberries are 8 grams of sugar per cup. So that's about 1½ teaspoons. So just something to know. So blueberries and strawberries actually have more than the other berries that I've shared. Grapefruit, I got a little grapefruit here, 7 grams of sugar per half of a grapefruit. And of course, this varies, right, depending on the size. So this is just general. And that's about 2¼ teaspoons. oranges, depending on the size, right? I mean, look at this. We got different size oranges, so you have to, take it for what it's worth. But 12 grams of sugar per large orange, which I don't even feel like I have a large orange here, or 3 teaspoons. Pineapple, oh, I love pineapple. 11 grams of sugar in 1 cup. Also 2.75 teaspoons, or just, a little under 3 teaspoons. And then let's just talk a couple minutes about lemons and limes. Limes have less sugar than lemons. Lemons are 2.5 grams per like if it's a medium size, or about a half a teaspoon. And I always thought lemons and limes were interchangeable, which they are in terms of flavoring things, but I didn't realize that limes are 1.3 grams of sugar per fruit. Now they're typically smaller, and that's in 1/3 of a teaspoon. Cherries, those are higher. They're 12 grams of sugar per 1 cup. That's about 3 teaspoons. And persimmons, every once in a while we have those. 18 grams of sugar per medium size, or 4.5 teaspoons. Who doesn't like pomegranates? I love pomegranates. 10 grams of sugar in 1 cup, almost 2.5 teaspoons. And I'm just sharing this not to deter you. I think this is great. I do eat all this stuff, but just so you know that, you get different amounts, and it's nice to be able to know and mix them up. I'll share a few more. Pomegranates are 10 grams of sugar per 1 cup. So that's another 2.5 teaspoons. Watermelon, I thought would be higher. 8 grams of sugar per 1 cup, or like 1.5 teaspoons. And peaches are the same, 8 grams of sugar in a medium peach, 1.5 teaspoons. And then I have 3 left. I could share plum, apple, and pear. So plum is 7 grams if it's like a medium-sized plum. That's like 2.25 teaspoons of sugar. And then the good old apple, which I don't have any out today, 10 grams of sugar per medium apple. That's almost 2.5 teaspoons. And of course, different apples are going to be different, right? There are sweeter tasting apples that are, like Fuji and Envy and all of those, versus like the green apple, which is more tart. So I'm sure there's a variation there. And then pear, the last one I have to share, is 10 grams of sugar. That's 2.5 teaspoons. So were you surprised by places sugar can be hidden? I'd like to know. So I'm just going to take a second to check the chat before we close up. I know I've gone a little over. We're almost done here. And so let me see. Yes, Core Scorpy says a lot of sugar in dates. So dates are 66% sugar. Yeah, that's right. Because 66 grams of sugar in 100 grams of dates, you got it. Renee says, how much natural sugar in fruit should we get daily? Do you want to
I can. And again,
that?
going back to the American Heart Association's statistics. So, for men, it was 30 grams a day. And for women, it was 25 grams a day. The difference being refined or processed sugar has all the nutrients stripped out of it. And it just goes right into your bloodstream, versus natural sugars, which come with the fiber and all the vitamins and minerals with the rest of the plant, with the fruit or vegetable. So same amount is just better for you to eat the natural sugars.
Yes, thank you. And we talked about 25 grams is about 6 teaspoons for women. That's what's recommended. You do what you want to take it lower or whatever. And for men, I think it was 9 teaspoons. So great question. Thank you, Renee. And let's see, Mona says, my sumo oranges are huge. Okay, well, enjoy them. And then Annette says, they're my favorite oranges. Sumo oranges are amazing, aren't they, you guys? Jill Caperton says, me too. She loves them too. We should have like a sumo orange party. And so Annette says, I have not had them yet this year. Oh, what, you've had them before. And she says, I think I missed the season in Canada. Well, there's always next year, right? Or, hey, come out our way and enjoy if you can. So let's see. Anything else? People are talking about the mandarin orange. Those are huge, but not so sweet, Annette says. So, yeah. And then Annie Millette Is that right?
And Millette.
Anne Millette. Welcome. How many push-ups are you up to now? I have started this challenge myself after you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. I am up to 75 push-ups. I've kind of stopped adding them for now because I want to master them. I want to be able to master them. And so, but I do want to get to 100. And when I feel I'm ready, then I'll add one at a time. So thank you for asking, and good for you to do your push-ups. That's awesome. And Jill likes your voice.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Mona.
Lisa says, I know Robbie from Mastering Diabetes eats close to 20 servings of fruit a day. And so natural sugar isn't even bad for diabetics. Yes, I've heard that and I agree. And so anyways, so I just want to quickly talk and end here just by saying what I want you to take away from today is, not telling you what to eat or what not to eat, but start paying attention to your sugar intake. Look at your labels if you're buying things that come in a package or one of these little pouches or something, and or cans or whatever, and learn to recognize what's in your food that is and is not called sugar. So it might be tough at first, but I think your health is worth it. And when you focus on whole, unpressed foods, your body is going to thank you. So no matter where you are in the journey, you're eating it, you're not eating it, you can start somewhere with awareness. And I just want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you learned something new about sugar and how it affects our health. And remember, it's never about being perfect. It's about making small changes that can add up over time. And again, awareness. So I want you to stay healthy and stay mindful. And don't forget to eat your greens and give plants a chance. Oh my goodness. And I just want to say thank you, everybody. Any last things in the comments here? Everybody's saying thank you. It's so great to have everyone. Yeah.
Mona says, sometimes I get fruit overload. At least it's like having too much of a good thing. Love fruit, though. And Bernadette said, fruit can depend on the person. Fruit can still raise blood sugar in many people.
Yes.
That's true.
And that's why it's so important to know about your own body and have assistance when you need it from your healthcare professional. So I just want to again say thank you so much. I feel much gratitude to have you here today. I really do care about your health and your well-being. And so we'll see you next time, everyone. And thanks so much. Take care. Bye.